You're now listening to the Art of Reinvention show hosted by your boy TeflonJohn, where my goal is to change the world one person at a time by provoking thought. And you're now in the right place to receive motivation, inspiration, so you can make it throughout your day, so you can make it throughout your week. And so like I said, I just want you guys to sit back and just absorb all the content. And as I always say, one love, be blessed. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy TeflonJohn coming to you courtesy of the Art of Reinvention podcast show. In today's episode, we're just going to be talking about change. But before we get into that, I would like to thank you all for tuning in to the Art of Reinvention podcast show. And if you would like to know how to support the Art of Reinvention podcast show, you can do so just by simply sharing this. You can do so by leaving a comment on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, whatever platform that you're choosing to listen to. And also leave a comment on my website. Comments and shares really supports this movement, really supports this brand, even without donating money. So I'm just going to start with that. Please share, comment, like on Facebook, really get this out on social media. And now let's just get into the episode. So I had a pretty good day today, man. Really beautiful day. I went outside and it's like in the 60s maybe. You know what I'm saying? So it's really feeling good outside, and went to church this morning, great service. And Pastor Rob, a friend of mine, was talking about change, and he brought up the story with the butterfly and the caterpillar. And what I want you guys to really grasp is, is it necessary for you to change for what you want to do in life? Do you feel like you have to change? And if the answer is yes, then it's a process that we must go through. First, we have to realize that we are the way we are because either we want to be that way, or it's through a series of life experiences or our past who has made us who we are now. And so what I want you guys to really realize is that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to change. I don't care if it's developing a new habit. I don't care if it's just simply, wanting to do something different or taking different behavior. It's not going to be easy because depending on how old you are will determine how long you've been on this earth, right? And how long you've been on this earth will pretty much determine how long you've been doing the one thing that you would like to change. And some people say it takes 7 times to form a habit, doing something 7 times. And, to form a lifestyle, you would continually do it. But I think by the way we are wired and the fact that we don't really study the psychology behind the brain and human behavior, sometimes it's hard because you can become inspired. You can become motivated and ready to do it, but you really don't understand how to go about it, right? And so what I want you guys to really take from this is you can change, but it's going to take time and it's going to be a process, right? And when we speak about the whole story with the caterpillar and the butterfly, we realize that a caterpillar one day has to go into the cocoon, a dark place. I've never been there, but it's a dark place. I'm pretty sure they go in there, and it's just that. I mean, you're going to put your life on pause. So if you deal with FOMO, the fear of missing out, you're pretty much going to miss out. And one day they'll become this beautiful, colorful butterfly where they can fly. But I guess part of the problem is no one wants to go into the cocoon. And so when you think about being a caterpillar, you're thinking about crawling, doing things a certain way your entire life. Now, in order to fly, and I'm pretty sure it looks good to fly if you're a caterpillar. From that perspective, watching other birds and butterflies, watching other insects and creatures fly, it looks nice. But I guess the downside is, man, I have to go into this cocoon-like state for a couple weeks or whatever, 13, 14 days. And sometimes, that can be kind of scary not knowing. And I think the problem is when we relate that to our actual life, we view our circumstance sometimes as a cocoon. And sometimes we realize the change, in order for us to do so, we have to go into a cocoon-like state. It's going to be very uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Trying to develop a new habit, trying to become someone different, trying to practice and, pick up new ways of doing things, whether it's being nice to people, more respectful, whether it's being on time for work, whether it's starting to work out. It's going to be uncomfortable because you're going to go into this cocoon-like state where you're feeling out of body, out of pocket, because you're having to try, you're having to think and put forth effort from a day-to-day task. And I think through that, you will experience growth. Through that, you will learn who you are as a person. And through that, eventually, you will change. But what I want you guys to realize is that that cocoon is necessary. That dark place, that uncomfortable spot is necessary. I could remember when I wanted to change, before, I was an athlete. And, when I graduated, I didn't play, sports in college or whatever. But I started to put on weight, man. And when I got married, due to those home cooked meals, I had put on about 40 pounds, And when I wanted to start back working out again, even though my mind knew what it was to be an athlete for several years, I forgot what it was like physically to grind to get back on that pace. So it's very uncomfortable, trying to push my body to limits that I knew I could get to. But it was just taking a long time because it had been years since I've been physically active, right? It was uncomfortable, cutting foods that I was like comforted with. It was, uncomfortable cutting foods that taste good, to go to something healthy. And what I realized is that part of that dark spot is when you're doing what's necessary for change, but you don't see the results. I'm going to say that one more time. Part of the dark spot, part of the cocoon is when you're doing what's necessary for change. You're holding up your end of the deal, but you're not seeing any results. And I have one piece of advice for you, right? Stay the course. Stay the course. Because change is not something that just happens overnight for everybody, right? Sometimes it does happen for people, but it's a small percentage of people that it happens like that. But what I'm going to say is stay the course, because sometimes it's not measurable. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the time you fell in love with your significant other, I can remember, falling in love with my wife over time, but I couldn't tell you there was no one thing that happened. You know what I mean? There was no, she, was there for me during this time, or she, helped me with this. It was an accumulation of actions that led to that behavioral change that affected my emotions. And so a lot of times with change, when we're doing something, we have to just be consistent and stay the course, because eventually it's going to happen. But it takes over a course of time. Now, sometimes it can be frustrating when you're result driven. So what you got to do is just stay the course, set a duration period where you're going to measure progress, because you can't measure it day to day. That's just like if you go to the gym and work out and your goal is to go from benching 85 pounds to 225. You're not going to just go in there the next day and bench 225. It's going to be accumulation of workouts, right? I take it back, an accumulation of workouts in nutrition and, just other daily behaviors that lead to you benching 225 pounds. You can't pin it and say, oh, it was the workout on November 12th at 6:30 p.m. that led to that. It was that piece of celery that I ate on December 1st. It is a commitment to a course of action that guides you to your goal. And that's what I want you to realize is that, whether you're trying to start a business, whether you're trying to become a better person, a better wife, a better husband, or whatever, it's going to take you committing to a course of action and staying on that path for a while. That's just how it is. It's just, I use fitness all the time. You see people that lose weight, they lose 100 pounds. They don't do it overnight. They do it over a course of sometimes a year, sometimes 8 months, sometimes 6 months. And so what we got to do is realize that the cocoon state is really good for us. It is really good for us. And a lot of times when it comes to change, we often let our past hold us back. So that's going to be the second point that we veer off to, is we often let our past hold us back. And sometimes it is very hard, which all the times, it is very hard to drive when you're looking in that rearview mirror. If you're constantly looking in the rearview mirror from keeping somebody from running into the back of you, you can increase your chances of running into the back of somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Because you're focused on what's behind you instead of what's in front of you. And so what you have to realize is that your past is just what it is. Your past is what shapes you and what molds you and the reason that you are the person you are today, but your past should not hold you hostage. You know what I'm saying? Your past should not hold you hostage. It's times where, my past or things that I've done in my mind, I become a prisoner to it because you tend to think and reflect on that. And it's hard to see, okay, am I going to go forward and become someone different? Or am I going to just continue to look at what I've done in my past? And it's hard. It is very hard to let go of that which has happened. It is very hard to let go of, what happened yesterday. Because, as people, we hold grudges. As people, we have, we don't let go. You know what I'm saying? We normally like to hold on. If you look at a hoarder, right? If you've ever seen the show Hoarders, they hold on to a lot of items and material things because there's some type of emotional attachment to that. And sometimes I believe that the reason we can't let go of our past because we feel like we're giving leverage to someone or something. And many times we're letting our past shape our future because we're not letting go of it. You know what I mean? It's like trying to walk forward, but you're holding on to somebody behind you, So what I want you guys to do is realize that you have to let go of your past, accept the fact that what happened, learn from it, and move on. And the next point we just want to talk about is just reaching that state where you have changed. So you are the caterpillar. You're in the cocoon. Now, when you're out of the cocoon and you're actually in that changed state, it's going to take a little bit of effort to remain there. I'm pretty sure when the caterpillar is learning how to fly into new muscles, it's a whole new form. It's a whole new body type that they have taken on. So it's going to take some time of getting used to. But it's hard to learn how to fly when you're thinking and focusing on a point in time when you didn't have wings. I'm going to say that one more time. It's hard to learn how to fly when you're thinking and you're focusing on the time when you didn't have wings. And I'm going to tell you that many times in life, it's hard to sit back and think about, and enjoy the moment that you're in when you're constantly looking back. And so you have to realize that you are capable of change. You are capable of becoming a better person. You are capable of, doing great things in life, but unless you believe that, it only starts with belief. I can't see a creature flying. I can't see a human being flying an airplane without the faith that they can do it, without the belief. And so if you don't believe in you, it's going to be very hard for other people to believe in you. And with that being said, coming out of cocoon state, you got to believe that you can fly. You can have, the wings. You can have the ability to be able to fly. But I think mentally, until you grasp the fact that you can do it, it's going to be very hard for you to do so. And so what I want you to do and what I want you to sit back and think about over the next several days is, what are you capable of? Many people don't change because they don't think they're capable of doing it. That is the bottom line. Many people do not change because they don't think they are capable of doing it. And another percent of people who don't think they are capable of doing it is because they're surrounded by people who are putting negative connotations and negative thoughts in their head, making them believe that they cannot change. They're making them believe that they cannot change. And what I want you guys to really take from this episode is the possibilities are endless. You know what I'm saying? You were wonderfully made. Everybody's great. Everybody has gifts. Everybody has talents. But it's up to you to find out what those gifts and talents are and know what you're capable of. You have the potential to be anything you want to be. You have the potential to be the next president of the United States. You have the potential to be the next CEO of that company. You have the potential to create a business, a thriving business, and soar in entrepreneurship. But one thing about potential is something that hasn't happened yet. When we deal with potential energy and kinetic energy, potential energy is stored energy. Kinetic energy is energy in motion. So imagine potential energy is you're standing on the top of a diving board and you're bending your knees. Then all of a sudden you just stand up straight and walk back down the diving board and say, nah, forget this. I'm not doing that. Right? Kinetic energy is you going to the top of the diving board. After your knees are bent, you spring and you let that motion take you into a nice dive into the pool. So which one are you? Are you going to just live with the potential of doing something? Live with the potential that you can be great? Live with the potential that you can change? Or are you going to get that potential energy converted to kinetic energy and get it moving and actually change? And that's what I want you guys to leave with this episode. You can do it, but it's up to you to get that energy and motion to actually change. And again, I say that was the end of this episode. We're talking about the power of change. Can you change? Do you think you can change? And it starts with faith. And if you would like to support this podcast, if you like to support my brand, you can simply start by sharing this on social media, by leaving a comment on iTunes and leaving a comment on Lips. And that's all I need is a comment and a review. And you can support this brand as of right now by not even going into your pockets. And I would appreciate it if you just share this on social media and just leave a comment on the podcast platforms. And if you like to see all my other weekly motivation videos and Facebook lives, you can go to www.iamteflonjohn.com. And that's John spelled John. That's IAMTEFLONJOHN.com. And if you like for me to, come speak at your next event, if you like to book me, you can go to iamteflonjohn.com/book-me. And you can see a form on there and fill it out, and it will come to my email, and we can talk about that. And so, like I said, I want you guys again to just focus on you can change. You have the potential to change. But are you going to do it? And as I always say, one love, be blessed. We would like to thank you for listening to this episode of The Art of Reinvention by TeflonJohn. And we encourage you to share this episode across all your social media platforms. And we also encourage you to visit our website at www.iamteflonjohn.com and follow us on all our social media platforms at facebook.com/realteflonjohn, twitter.com/realteflonjohn, and instagram.com/realteflonjohn. And while you're on Facebook, go ahead and like our page so you can receive first-hand notifications every time we go live with the motivational video or any motivational content. And as I always say, one love, be blessed.